pleasure for me to be here. How many of you have never seen me before? This is your first time? Oh, well, most of you. Okay. I keep thinking I'm more famous than that, but I guess that is the truth. Anyway, nice to see all of you. It's going to be a good day today. We're going to take a couple of breaks along the way so you don't have to sit all the way through without stopping here. Somebody once said the mind can only absorb what the seat can endure. And I think that's true. So we won't make you endure too long before we take a little stretch break here. Do we have any teenagers? We invited the kids to come. Where are you? Teenagers or younger? Or... All right, let's give them a hand. Welcome. Nice to see all of you. My favorite audience. I got a good story for you. Two little boys in school. One was very bright. The other one wasn't very bright. Teacher gave a test one day, 10 questions. And she's looking at the two papers. And to her surprise, the little boy who was not very bright had answered 9 of the 10 questions perfect. And she thought, well, that can't be right. So she looked at the other paper, the little boy who was very bright. He had answered 9 of the 10 questions perfect. And the teacher thought, hey, something is wrong here. Sure enough, the problem was the answers to the 10th question. The little boy who was very bright got to the 10th question, and he didn't know the answer, and he was running out of time. So he just wrote down, I don't know the answer to this one, turned his paper in. Teacher looked at the other paper, the little boy who wasn't too bright, and he answered the 10th question, I don't know either, and turned his in. Which I guess means don't cheat, right? It never seems to work out well. Anyway, we're going to get started here. This is a work session, okay? I have not come to entertain you, as you can tell by my opening joke here. I wouldn't make it in Las Vegas, so no dog and pony show here today, but I've got some serious ideas to share with you, and I want to get right to it. But just very briefly, for you that are here for the first time, I grew up in Idaho. A little small village in the southwest corner of Idaho. My father still lives in this little farm community where I grew up on the old homestead. And he'll be 90 his next birthday. And he still hasn't retired. I'm trying to get him to retire this year. I'm saying, hey, Papa, age 89, what a great year to retire. And he's still saying, hey, talk to me in 10 years, right? I may be ready. He's amazing. But anyway, I went to high school, graduated, went to college one year. Halfway through my second year, I decided I was smart enough, so I quit. A major mistake on my part. I should have stayed in school, but I thought, heck, I'm smart enough to get a job. And at the time, I thought, that's about all the smarter you need to be, right? Smart enough to get a job. So, age 19, I quit school and went to work. And, my parents taught me to work hard, so that was no problem. And, if you work hard and keep your fingers crossed, stay out of trouble, and pay your bills on time, and do your best, hope for the future, that's about it. And I proceeded to go do that. A little while later, I met a beautiful young lady, put probably my finest sales presentation on her. I promised her wealth and fame and fortune and world travel for starters. I said it would probably be your life's finest decision to marry me. And she bought the whole story. Fortunately for me, she did. So we got married, and now I've got my little family started pretty soon, and out there doing the best I thought I could. But year by year, I'm falling a little further behind, purchasing a little more than I can conveniently pay for on time. And about age 25, I am now really in the hole, right? Creditors are starting to call saying, hey, you told us the check was in the mail, and I'm dancing around on that. I got pennies in my pocket. I got nothing in the bank, and I'm wondering, where do I go from here? I'm a nice guy, and I love my family, and I'm certainly willing to work hard, but I was just not making progress. And I thought, well, maybe I should go back to school. 1 year of college, right, is a little short on an application. But with a family, right, tough decision to make to go back to school when you got your family started. So, hey, the best time to stay in school, right, is when you're there. That Going back usually doesn't work. So I sort of discounted that. Then I thought, if I had my own business, that would really do it. But, I didn't have the money. Too much month at the end of the money. That's where I was, right, age 25. So in this quandary of wondering, what could I do to make my life better? Willing to work hard, but hadn't found the answers. Then good fortune came my way. And gosh, who can explain sometimes good fortune, why something remarkable happens to you at a particular time? I don't know. I'm an amateur on life, I guess, like most of us. One of my friends says, however, things don't just happen. Things happen just. And maybe that's it, I don't know. But my good fortune was, when I was 25 years old, I met a very rich, wealthy man. His name was Mr. Schoaf, Mr. Earl Schoaf. A friend of mine had gone to work for him. And he started telling me about this man. He said, you got to meet this man I've gone to work for. He's rich, but he's easy to talk to. He's got a unique philosophy of life. And he kept going on, and I thought, well, gosh, I've got to meet this man. So shortly after that, I had a chance to meet this Mr. Schoaf, and I was impressed. He was rich, and he was easy to talk to. Within a few minutes, I was dazzled. I thought to myself, I'd give anything if I could be like him. What would it take to be rich and easy to talk to, have a unique philosophy of life? And then I thought, if I could just get around somebody like him, if he'd teach me, coach me, I'd learn it all, I'd do it all. And that was my good fortune. A few months later, this wealthy man hired me, gave me a job, and I went to work for him. Spent 5 years in his employ. And then, unfortunately, he died at age 49. But I got to spend 5 years, his last 5, and the first 5 years of my new life with this wealthy man, and sure enough, my dream came true. He coached me. He taught me. He taught me the books to read. He taught me the disciplines. He taught me the skills. He taught me the changes to make in my language and personality. And the things he shared with me during that 5 years revolutionized my life. Changed my income, changed my bank account, changed my future. Unbelievable. By the time I was 31, I was a millionaire. So he taught me economics as well. So how lucky can you get, right, at the good time in your life to meet the right person who's willing to share, especially somebody that's successful and accomplished. A lot of rich people, right, aren't that interested in sharing how they do it. And some might be interested, but you don't have the capacity or the ability or the language. But I was fortunate to find somebody at a good time in my life who was willing to share and also had the ability to put it into language that I could understand. And I made those changes, and it just revolutionized my life. I wish Mr. Schoaf was still alive today. If he was, I'm sure I'd be calling him one more time today and thanking him for those years I got to spend and what he did for me. But anyway, how I really got here. 30-plus years ago, I was living in Beverly Hills. And a friend of mine one day said, Jim, I'd like to have you come and tell your story to my service club that I belong to. He belonged to the Rotary Club. He said, we invite people to come, tell their story. He said, if I arranged one of our breakfast meetings, would you come and share your story? Idaho farm boy makes it to Beverly Hills. He said, I think they'd love to hear it. I said, okay. So he arranged this breakfast meeting, and I went and told my story. And guess what? They liked it. And my telephone rings. Another club called and said, we heard about your story. Would you come share that story with us? And I said, okay. My telephone rings. And another one says, we've heard about your story. If we arranged a luncheon meeting, would you come tell your story? And I said, okay. First thing I know, I'm starting to devote a little piece of my business time to telling my story and enjoying it very much. Then one day, a businessman who'd heard my story about 3 times said, would you come and share your story with my management and salespeople? He said, I've got this little company going. And he said, if you would, I'd be happy to pay you. And I thought, wow. Wouldn't that be something? To share my story and get paid for it? He said, I'd be happy to. So I went and talked with his management and salespeople, and I got paid. Little did I know, another fortune was waiting for me to translate my experience into talks and seminars and speeches, and now it's become a business of its own. And now this business alone takes me around the world. Last year I lectured in Japan and Israel and Spain and Germany and France and Australia and New Zealand and Mexico. Incredible. Early part of the year I was in London lecturing. Happened to be lecturing the same night that Pavarotti was appearing in London. So, big dilemma for the people in London. Shall we go see Jim Rohn, or shall we go listen to Pavarotti? Well, I must admit, he did have more people than I did. Like 150,000 more. He did a free concert in Hyde Park, and they expected 250,000, but it rained. And so only 150,000 showed up. But they did get soaked from Prince Charles on down. They sat in the rain and listened to Pavarotti. I'd have been happy to do that, right? Sit in the rain, listen to Pavarotti. Anyway, he and I have agreed now not to appear in the same city on the same day anymore. No, not really. But gosh, how exciting can it possibly be for a farm boy from Idaho, raised in obscurity, parents of modest means, meet the right person at the right time, willing to share, and those ideas revolutionize my life. So the purpose of my seminar today is to share some of those ideas with you. And I wanted to, first of all, just give you a little briefing about my story. My story is probably more fascinating for me than it is for you, but I wanted to hear it again, so I thought I would just, bore you with it. But anyway, I'm ready to get started now. Let's see how much I can pack into a single day. The centerpiece of all of my lecture series is a 2-day leadership weekend. And if you have a chance, we did the last one here a few months ago, and we won't have another one probably till next year, but 2 days where we have a lot more time to cover a wide variety of subjects. And we don't have time for that today, but let me see how much I can put into just a few hours, because I want to send you away with something to ponder and think about. And I've got 2 responsibilities to fill, right? One is to make this worth your money, right? You shelled out your hard-earned cash. We want to make sure we get full value for the money we spend. So when you walk away today, I want you to be able to say, it was worth my money.